this started off. My name is John Walkie. I'm with Green Roots, and I want to first thank you all for coming out on a chilly, seasonably chilly October morning. And I want to thank the folks who've really pulled this together, very grassroots. So Heather and Frank and Sandra and everyone who's been doing this. So we are here, obviously, about the EC substation, no on 2, and I think many of you have heard about this, but I want to give the space right now to our representative, Adrian Madaro, my neighbor. Come on over. Why he is voting no on 2.
Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Good? All right, first of all, I want to thank all my neighbors here in East Boston, Green Roots, and the wonderful community activists who've really been leading the charge on fighting the substation for what's 2-3 years now. I want to thank Ruth Z, candidate for at-large city council. Definitely will be one of our next at-large city councilors with all of your help, and I'm just grateful that she's here, took the time to join us. Look, this is pretty simple for us, right? This project has had universal opposition from members of our community. Residents, elected officials, advocates, activists, you name it. I don't know anyone aside from Eversource and some folks who were formerly in city government who were helping or who were okay with this moving forward. But clearly we in East Boston are not. We attended hearings, wrote letters of opposition, you name it. But we have a really unique opportunity coming up on the ballot on November 2nd to, in a more tangible way, express our opposition, and that's by voting no on question 2. And I'm really grateful for the residents of East Boston who put their name out there to help get this on the ballot. Grateful to our city councilor, Lydia Edwards, who helped shepherd this issue through the council to ensure that it got on the ballot. I'm born and raised 2.5 blocks away from this location. This is the park. Is another name. This is one of the most highly frequented parks by young people in our community. We also have the Chelsea Creek Urban Wilds right here. This is a flood zone where on a number of occasions in the past couple of years when we've had significant storm surge, Condor Street has been entirely blocked off due to flooding. And of course, in the background, you see all the oil tanks and the jet fuel tanks supporting Logan Airport. For so many reasons, this is clearly not a good location for this substation. That's right. And I mean, I think that's very obvious to anyone who lives here in East Boston. And again, this is our opportunity on the ballot to express our opposition to this really misguided project. And I'm just very grateful for all of you for being here today, and grateful for the countless other activists in East Boston and beyond who've joined us in opposing this substation. This will be just yet another step in that journey of opposition, and I thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Want to thank you. Want to thank everyone. Want to thank Heather. Want to thank Frank. Want to thank Sandra. So many who are involved with saying no to the substation. Funny, Heather was sending me Facebook messages this week saying, FYI, I was like, oh, don't worry, it's already on the calendar. I'm there. I'm going to be there. I will stand in solidarity with all of you. It is unfair how much the disproportionate level of environmental impact that East Boston shares compared to the other neighborhoods here in our city. You know, and we need to make sure that we are protecting East Boston, and one way we do that is by saying no on 2. And so we'll be on doors today. I didn't introduce myself, Ruth Lujan. I'm candidate for Boston City Council at large. Happy to have, thank you. Happy to have so many friendly faces here, so many community activists, Green Roots, Sunrise. We're looking forward to working with all of you from City Hall to protect our city against climate injustices, to protect us from, you know, making sure that we're putting people before profit and putting people before disastrous environmental impacts on our neighborhoods. So when we're on doors today, we're going to tell people to say yes to Route C and no on 2. So don't worry, we got your back. So thank you so much, and thanks for all the work that you do. The work is really here in community, and I just hope to be a representative to be able to amplify all the work that you guys have been doing. So thank you.
Thanks so much. And we got Vinny, special appearance by Vinny Aidi, folks. Keep driving, Vinny, keep driving. Let's see. This program is sort of seat of the pants here, so I'm not sure, Heather, would you like to come up? And...
I really want to give you a little bit of the history of this whole escapade, this whole mess that we're looking at right now. This substation project area, that whole piece of land, was promised to this neighborhood as a soccer field. Kids in this neighborhood play soccer every night. Their parents play soccer every night. We do not have enough fields in this neighborhood for kids to play on. Kids do not have backyards. They use this field. We needed this field. Now there's this deal with the city of Boston that goes way back, and that this has been promised by the former mayor's appointed head of inspectional services, who sent Eversource a letter in 2015 saying Boston will not get in your way. The other interesting thing that's happened is some of the people who work for the Eversource engineers used to work for the city of Boston when they were getting approved for this. None of it makes any sense. None of it is this project is going to cost billions of dollars. That will be paid for by this is an environmental justice neighborhood. What Eversource wants to do is milk them for more money, for their 7-figure salaries. The executives at Eversource, they all make millions every year to do projects like this. We don't need this project. This neighborhood bears, as Ruth Z and Adrian have talked about, more environmental injustice than any other neighborhood probably in the Commonwealth. We have the shipping channel, we have the highway, we have the subway, we have all of this jet fuel for the whole region. We have most of the home heating oil for the region. We have the least amount of tree canopy and the least amount of open space. Now people will look at a map and say, what's this, what's that? The majority of the open space in this neighborhood belongs to Massport. Massport has asked for an Eversource substation. Massport needs apparently more electricity. Massport is going to put a little substation. Massport has a big elaborate system to protect them and their assets from flooding from the sea level rise, and also flooding from storm surge. We have no protection over here from storm surge flooding. This neighborhood floods. It floods today. Eversource tells us it's not going to flood till like the year, 2090 or something. You all live here. You know it floods now. This needs to be stopped. Top down, I want to say thank you to Senator Ed Markey, Senator Elizabeth Warren, our representative in Congress, Ayanna Pressley. I want to thank our state Senator Joe Boncory. I want to thank our state representative, Adrian Madaro. I want to thank our city councilor at large, Michelle Wu, for putting together a coalition to pass the first wetlands ordinance, the first ordinance Boston has had to protect the environment and the people who live here. I want to thank our city councilor, Lydia Edwards, for standing up, for dealing with the legal and technical issues of protecting us from this project, for protecting the wetlands here. I want to thank the candidates for other officers, like Ruth Z, who's come to East Boston and says, what is this about? What's going on? What can I do to help? I want to thank all of the activist groups. I want to thank Extinction Rebellion from the bottom of my heart for always being there here for East Boston, for everybody. For our partners at Sunrise and Green Roots and Mothers Out Front. We've all come together. We can't let this stop. I want everybody to be on this with us this week. We need to tweet. We need to make a TikTok. We need to get this out there. We need to write letters to the editor. We need to be the voice, because there are people. When I was painting signs this week at the Boston Public Library, who came by and was like, what is question 2? Well, they're not going to build an electrical substation. Where in East Boston could they possibly put it? People still don't know about what's going on here. We need to not let up. We have a whole good other week before November 2nd. We need to keep it up. We need to vote for the people who have protected us. We need to vote for the people who have taken strong, innovative stances against this injustice. We need to tell everybody, even outside of East Boston, citywide, vote no on question 2. It's non-binding. It doesn't take anything from anybody. It just says, we don't agree. We don't want this. And that's what we need to do next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Heather. And I would just, to piggyback just on very quickly on what Heather just said, she mentioned about the sort of revolving door between these industries, and you see on the sign over there, small one right above this is deny Chapter 91. So that's one of the permits they need. The permit was written by a guy who worked at a company who is now in charge of the office that oversees the Chapter 91 permits. So that's the kind of he had to actually recuse himself from that process because he wrote the application that he's now, evaluating. This gives you an idea of the kind of problem that we have between government and industry, and there's no better example of that than our energy sector. And so when people talk, you may have heard people mention energy democracy. This right now, what we're experiencing, is a case of where energy democracy is needed. We need to have a say in how energy is delivered to us. We need to have a say on what kind of energy we produce. We need to have a say on the benefits of our energy sector. And that's one thing that we're going to be working towards in the future. We're going to be looking at things like distributed solar generation on your rooftop so that you can be generating your own electricity to minimize, and Eversource obviously doesn't want to see that happen. Eversource wants to see continued investment in massive infrastructure like this. It's white elephants that are not necessarily needed, but there's more stuff that's going to be coming down the pike soon in regards to energy democracy in East Boston in particular, and for the state as a whole. So I just want to put that on your radar because we are part of something larger. And right now, Sabrina from Sunrise.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is, that's nice. My name is Sabrina, and like John said, I'm a member of the Sunrise Movement, which is an organization of young people looking to stop the climate crisis and make millions of income from the planet. So I gotta wait for the airplane to go by. One of the things that I really like that Sunrise focuses on when we are talking about the climate crisis is the human impact of it. What our futures are going to look like as young people, what the futures of folks in vulnerable environmental justice communities are going to look like, what our water will be, what our access to resources will be. And that's why I think it's really important that all of us are out here today. There is absolutely no reason that an electric substation from a fossil fuel company should be right by a playground, right on a floodplain, and right in the middle of a residential area. And I'm just grateful for all of the work that Heather and Frank and Sandra and all of you have been doing this whole time, and we're happy to be here and stand in solidarity with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunrise. Great job. Julie, would you like to say something on behalf of Extinction Rebellion? Because there have been a lot of crazy, creative protests. We've been seeing people in bathtubs blocking the doors to the DEP offices or the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs. Seen a large pink boat docked in front of the governor's home. And I just want to give an opportunity for Extinction Rebellion to speak.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, regarding the bathtub, so where I grew up, I was told that water and electricity doesn't mix well, and that's pretty much like what is happening here with the substation, which is just a big toaster that you throw into the bathtub of something getting flooded all the time. But my education might not be as valid as others. I like to be with Extinction Rebellion because I'm not really good in following the rules, but I think it's very straightforward that this thing is not supposed to be here, and it's very straightforward that that doesn't make sense. And looking at the bigger picture, you can see really a structure in these things. It's the EC substation, it's the Weymouth compressor station, it's the Peabody Peaker plant. All these infrastructure projects are not built because we need them. All these infrastructure projects are built because the companies are making, include Line 3, all these companies are making profits on just building them.
not because we are actually needing them, and like the energy that is generated and provided to the community is actually like slowly paying off. These infrastructure projects are just built to be built. Just built so that the customer gets charged. And that doesn't make sense. So Eastie Substation, Weymouth Compressor Station, Pickett Land, it doesn't make any sense. Just stop that bullshit and get it on!
That is the chance. We don't have to get there. Pull the plug on Eversource. That is the whole point, is that our energy sector should be answering to the people who use it, not the investor-owned utilities that are benefiting from it. So that's a big chunk of what we're doing here. A big chunk of what we're doing here is environmental justice. A big chunk is cumulative impacts, the health impacts that come along with all of this stuff, and just justice in terms of fairness. We have enough in our community already. We already bear a burden that everyone else benefits from. We can share this with someone else, and the someone else is literally 1,700 feet in that direction is the airport, and is a site where the airport is planning on putting electrical infrastructure already, and not a full-blown substation, but a switching station, which is half a substation basically. And so we're saying no, we're crossing our arms, saying no, no, no. But we're not just that. We're also saying, listen, if you can show us that this is legitimately needed, then put it over there. Because Eversource, by Eversource's own admission, we already know that over a third of the electricity going through this substation is going to be servicing the airport. The only thing that has been expanding has been the airport. Terminal E is huge, and it's continuing to grow. And we're not seeing the supporting infrastructure on the airport's property. We are again supporting the airport's needs when the need in the neighborhoods has actually gone down. And now I would like to introduce our city councilor and also candidate for our state senate, Lydia Edwards. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late, but we're always been part of this fight, honestly, against this environmental injustice. Obviously, I have the wonderful comrade in this fight, Adrian Mater, our state rep, but all of you have been there also from day one as folks who are here on the ground. And what we've done in that fight is a lot of things. We've held hearings, we've demanded answers of Eversource, and now finally, as a culmination of that fight, is no one questioned to. No one question too is a matter of us saying to Eversource in the city of Boston, we have a moral imperative to say you don't build this kind of infrastructure in neighborhoods. That we as a city can't talk out of both sides of our mouth. Either we're going to be carbon neutral, either we're going to be a city that has a green future and green infrastructure, or we're going to sit here and lie to ourselves and build this kind of infrastructure in our neighborhoods that does not belong here. So we're all organizing, and I want to thank the 10 everyday amazing folks from East Boston who came out and put that petition before the city council. I don't have the list right here, so I'm not going to be silly enough to name them, but it's because of East Boston that the whole city is going to say no on question 2. So I just want to say thank you to them. I was on the city councilman and passed that. We know what we're going to do together, and we're going to organize in a way that says this for every single neighborhood. If East Boston's hurting, you're going to hurt too. You're next. That's what question 2 is about. So thank you for this opportunity. We're going to be here, and we're going to never leave. And honestly, whatever happens on November 2nd, which we know we're going to win, we're still going to be fighting against that substation every single day. So thank you.
And Noemi Rodriguez is our organizer at Green Roots and has been working tirelessly right around here in the Eagle Hill area, organizing folks. We do these caminatas, green walks, every Tuesday afternoon. And she's got a huge group of folks that have been coming out for that, and we'll give her an opportunity to speak.
Buenos días a todos y todas. Mi nombre es Noemi Rodríguez y soy un organizador con Raíces Verdes aquí en East Boston.
Good afternoon. My name is Noemi Rodriguez. I'm an organizer with Green Roots here in East Boston.
Soy madre de 3 niños que juegan justamente en este parque. Y una de las preocupaciones más grandes dentro de nuestra comunidad es esta subestación que quieren construir.
I'm a mother of 3 children who play right here in this park, and one of our biggest worries is exactly this substation being proposed across the street.
Gracias a las personas que han sometido esta pregunta dentro del boletín, ya que esto será parte de nuestra ayuda. Nosotros como comunidad inmigrantes también necesitamos protección.
Thank you so much to everyone who introduced this ballot question, and for us in this community, this is something that we need to protect us in our communities.
Esperamos, ¿verdad?, que esto sea una victoria. No queremos la subestación eléctrica, queremos parques, queremos lugares verdes para disfrutar en familia.
We hope that this will be a victory. We don't want more substations. What we want are green areas, green spaces, and more parks for our children to play in.
Este ha sido el compromiso como organizador, hablar al hablante hispano acerca de no subestación en East Boston y en las votaciones decir no a la número 2.
And that's been my commitment, is to make sure that the Latino community here knows about this substation, and they know to vote no on 2. No on 2.
También hemos involucrado un poco a Nube, a la organización Nube, para trabajar juntos y educar a nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
And we've also worked to involve Neighbors United for Better East Boston New Bay to vote no on 2. Make sure that if you've got friends in JP, and not Jeffrey's Point, but Jamaica Plain, if you've got friends in Mattapan, friends in Dorchester, and also Brighton, make sure they know that on number 2, they should be voting no. Number 2, no. To make sure that that gets out there. We want to make sure that people understand that this is a question of justice. It's a question of big companies screwing over communities of color, immigrant communities, low-income communities once again, and that they shouldn't stand for that. So no on 2. And if you can, we'll end this off with an energetic chant, because I know that's what people like. How about no on 2? No on 2! No